bougie shit at that time. It just was very out of my character. But honestly, I feel like, have you guys seen the stuff about Shira 7 and the Wizard Liz being like grifters? Like how they're like, they fake that they're happy to the internet and they're not actually happy, and they're just sharing advice strictly for like the benefit of teaching their ways that they're not even happy by following. Have you seen stuff like that? Like, I've seen a lot of stuff about how like Shira 7, it's very clear that she's not even a happy person, and it's like, should we be taking advice from somebody that's not happy? Like, I don't know. So like, I also, and don't get me wrong, because yeah, I loved Shira 7, but I started thinking to myself, like, the type of person that I am, low-key, like, if I lived her life, I would not be happy. I don't think I'd be happy ever. I think the information that she gives out is very helpful in the aspect of, like, if you're really determined, if you're like, okay, yeah, like, this is what I want, I'm determined, and I need a guide. I think it's great, but, like, if you're somebody who's happy with your life and you stroll across that and you're becoming just, like, influenced to have a lifestyle and you're, like, falling for, like, you're taking it as advice in general, I think, like, you know, you could be in for, like, a very unhappy life. I don't know. You just have to think about the type of advice you're taking. Liz's advice could never be harmful. Her advice could never, ever be harmful. But Shira 7's could be very harmful. Like, very, very fucking harmful. And she's profiting off of it. But at the same time, like, that's not necessarily her fault. But you gotta be careful. Oh my god, I feel bad for Liz too. You can't take it too literally. I agree. Yes, I did see everything with the Wizard Liz. I love being in love, but let me make it rich. No, I agree though. I completely agree. Like, realistically, it is really good for yourself to have those standards, right? Because if you are spending $1,000 a month just to look good, per se, like, well, that might be like drastic, but like, let's say that's what you're doing. Or if you're spending a lot of money to look good, why the fuck are you gonna hate yourself enough to go for somebody that's not even like spending the same amount of money on you that you spend on yourself? Agreed. Or go for somebody that wouldn't even try to spend that, like, or try to make that money. Like, if when you meet a man, he's broke and he can't take care of you and he's not determined to change that, what are you doing, you know? So I agree with Shira 7 to some extent, but at the same time, like, I think it can be harmful. I do. And also, I don't think that she's happy. So I think she's giving out advice while being unhappy. But I mean, you can't necessarily like speak on other people, so I don't know, maybe she's happy. But let me just tell you, I grew up with a mother who had the same mindset. I grew up with a mother who did the same stuff, and she's a victim of extreme domestic violence. So I don't think that advice is fucking valid to every extent. I think there's, like, at some point, like, I've heard her say some questionable stuff about, like, domestic violence where I'm like, ooh, I really, really pray that people are smart enough to make the right choices despite the advice that she's giving, because the advice she's giving could end you in some dangerous situations. Very dangerous, like getting R-worded dangerous, right? Like, you gotta be so careful. Men are so terrifying. I think there's a lot of men out there that are bad, and there are good ones too, and she doesn't tell people that. She doesn't believe there's any good men. I think low-key, I think being, like, chronically online gives you that feeling. I've never heard her talk about DV. Yeah, she's never necessarily touched base on DV, but she's cracked a couple, like, jokes about men yelling, and, like, she's given advice that could really fucking, what's the word, like, blow up a situation. Not in your favor. Like, she's given advice where, like, if you do that with the man with a lot of power, I'm praying for you. Like, I'm so serious. I'm hoping the best, because, like, I watched growing up, like, I lived in mansions, and my mom would, you know, marry rich, and that's sometimes women doing what they gotta do. You gotta be careful. Sometimes, yes, it does feel like lowering your standards for money. Your standards of morals and your standards of like human treatment from men. But don't get me wrong, don't date bumps. Don't date bumps. Don't. Like, please. Don't date a man who doesn't spend as much on you as what you spend on yourself. And if you're a woman who's paying your bills and a man's making your life harder and he's not paying your bills, it's even more of a what the fuck are you doing? But even if he's paying your bills and he's making your life hard, still what the fuck are you doing? You know? Like, you have to be aware. You can't, I feel like the dangerous thing about some advice is like if you take it too literal, you're gonna sit in a position and you're going to like validate it almost and like almost let it make sense in some way. So I don't know. I love her advice in some aspects. Her advice can get you through some gnarly breakups. Her advice can get you through some gnarly situations. Like, if you get cheated on, I feel like she's the perfect person to watch. Well, actually, no. Some self-healing is the perfect thing to watch. She's not teaching healing, sadly. Yeah, sometimes the advice isn't very good, but sometimes I fucking love her, and sometimes I'm like, that's really good advice, and I'm going to use that. At some point, I was really, like, obsessed with her advice, and I would constantly use it, and then, I don't know, I just started feeling a little bit like there's more important things in life than, you know, luxury and safety. The most important thing in life, quite literally, health and safety. And I feel like people might forget that just because what they're hearing. But, and I feel like people are gonna be like, well, you're stupid if you do that. I don't know, man. You know, sometimes, is my phone too high like this? I don't think you're stupid if you take advice really literal. I think that sometimes, especially people who are like, who have gone through trauma and things like that, people who experience a lot of trauma are really prone to falling into cults. So, I feel like my phone's way too high if I put it right here. She used to work as a mortician? Holy shit. Yes, because they're in a vulnerable state. Exactly. Like, if you're in a vulnerable state, you might take advice a little too serious from people, or you might seek it and see somebody as Shira as, like, very, like, you know, like, it's kind of like how Andrew Tate preys on fucking insecure, stupid men, and you're kind of like, how the fuck can anyone think this is okay? Like, there's men out there who, like, watch their dads treat their fucking mothers horribly, and then they meet a man who's just like their dad, and they got abused growing up, and Andrew Tate's saying, like, you know, like, hyping up his little, like, obsessive cult, and it makes him feel good. It's like, these horrible people prey on people, and Shira Steven's not a horrible person, but it's easy to fall victim to really bad advice in life, and Andrew Tate is a grifter. I hate. And oh my god. Okay, so I always talk about how I'm so obsessed with this girl named Annalyn McCord, and she's an actress, and she was in 90210, the reboot, and she's very intelligent. She speaks on like spirituality, Buddhism. She even like brings in Christianity sometimes. She's super like big on like healing like childhood trauma, like what is it, CTPD or something like that. There's like a certain like trauma healing like thing, whatever. But she made this video where she was like if I was Putin's mother, I would have never treated him like that. Like, she was like, this is a message to Putin. I would have never been a horrible mother to you. Like, I'm sorry that you didn't grow up with love. I'm sorry. She came at Putin with like a lot of love. I strive to even have like an ounce of that when it comes to people. Like Andrew Tate, for example. Like, I like when it comes to things like R wording people, like such a still horrible act.